Hello, Fearless Gamers, and welcome to another podcast here on Fearless Games. I'm Matt the Vet, and today I'm joined by the guy who may be ready.
Yeah, it's the wild card.
How's it going?
Not bad. How's it going?
Not bad, not bad. Just checking out what's new on the Advent calendar.
Yeah, there's that stuff. You get any painting stuff done?
No. Well, I did, and I didn't.
Explain.
I did do a base coat on a model. I didn't actually paint it other than the base coat, which doesn't really count as painting.
It's close enough. It gets you started. At least it's not, the plastic army of doom.
But that's the most evil of armies.
I guess. I think I got the Tomb King ship approximately halfway done.
Awesome.
So that was cool. It takes the painting much nicer than painting up the fish scabbers. I don't mean as in difficulty. I mean the way the model is. It just paints so much easier. So that's good. And and the nice thing about it is it has a lot of not panel lines, for lack of a better word, even though it's not a ship and it doesn't really have panels. Oh, well, it's a ship, but it's not panels. But it's got a lot of grooves in it that take wash really well.
Mm.
So really, if you hit it with a wash, you can really make the model pop and come to life. So that's cool. I like when things are simple, like hit it with a wash and it looks twice as good. That's simple. That's easy for me. I don't like the whole wet blend. That doesn't work. That doesn't work for me.
That's because you lack the power.
Yeah, I do. So that's cool. And some interesting stuff a little bit. Well, kind of. You remember Firestorm Armada, the thing that was like, it's interesting, except every ship looks like the same ship, just bigger.
Yes.
Well, the Firestorm Galaxy includes their game Planetfall, which when I originally heard about it, it was still under development, but it's up to buy now. And there's like a starter set basically that has two of the factions, and other factions have their own little force. And it looks like it's still in the infancy of being a game.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in like the scale they said it's in is like 1/182nd or something like that.
Okay.
So it's not the same 1/73 or 1/64 scale that 40K is, 25, 28 millimeter. This is a different scale. So I found it interesting because I didn't know the scale they were going for and they were making it. So this leads to you having your infantry being small, but it also, I guess because they're doing a lot of big like mecha type stuff and tanks and floating things, it leads to having those looking pretty cool and the infantry being tiny but manageable. It's not quite the scale of like Epic or BattleTech. That is 6 millimeter scale. This is a little bit bigger than that. So or 1/285th, 1/300th. This is 1/182nd, so it's a bit bigger. But which I found interesting because typically when you see games being made these days, they're typically in the same scale as like 40K, that 25, 28 millimeter scale.
Yeah.
So I was interested to see a scale different, which I found kind of unique, especially considering what you usually see is that 25, 28 millimeter scale or 1/285th, like Flames of War is at 6 millimeter scale. So it's usually that or 28. This is somewhere in the middle, which I found pretty cool. So it's going to make, admittedly, for terrain being a bit awkward. The nice thing about the 28, 25 millimeter scale models is even though War Machine would look really weird fighting amongst the Manufactorum of 40K, the scale is right. It just looked weird. But for this, I don't know if they're going to create terrain. But I've been doing a lot of terrain searches just in general. And there's companies out there that make terrain for all scales. So you just got to do a little bit of searching and you'll find terrain that you could buy that's pre-made, sometimes pre-painted. And for almost any scale, it just takes a little bit of searching. But the stuff looks pretty cool. It's not like, hey, this is a bigger version of this. They actually look different. Huzzah!
I'm not seeing this on their site.
It's under Spartan Games. It's underneath their products. It would be Firestorm Galaxy. And in Firestorm Galaxy, you click Planetfall.
Firestorm Galaxy.
Because this is taking place in that same universe.
Okay. Because I was like, I don't see anything called Firestorm Galaxy here.
Yeah, it's part of their products, and their stuff.
Battle for Protos Prime, I assume.
Well, that's
is what you were talking about.
Well, no, it's Planet Fall is the game. They have when you go
Planet
to
Fall Battle for Pro.
Yeah, that's on their online store. I guess their box set is that Battle for Proteus Prime. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I like the tanks.
They look cool. I mean, the scale is different, so if somebody who's not used to a smaller, like if you're a War Machine player or a 40K player, things are going to look a little awkward due to scale. But the detail for the scale is very nice, to be honest. And things look suitably different and unique enough. It's not like, hey, this ship is a bigger version of the same ship. It actually looks different.
I'm seeing a lot of the tank things right now. They look pretty cool.
They do. But again, it's that scale. So this is
it's little tiny peoples.
Yeah. So like one of their tanks,
40 millimeter by 30 millimeter. Interesting.
Yeah. So one of their tanks is on a 60 millimeter by 40. They do square base.
Yep.
It's 40 millimeter scenic base. So it's basically a tank is on a similar sized base as like a dreadnought.
Yeah.
To give you a sense of scale, for those of you who know 40K, the dreadnought is a walker, and then the tanks are bigger in 40K. This thing, their tank is the size of a dreadnought essentially. So it's a little bit different, but I kind of dig the scaling because I like the BattleTech and that's small scale. That's like BattleTech scale is even smaller than this. Same thing as Flames of War scale, so that's 6 millimeter scale. Which has led me to doing a lot of kind of research into scaling a bit, to be honest, because you and I agree that some of the best thing about wargaming is having like a full-on sculpted table to wargame on.
Yeah.
So that stuff is like that's full-on immersion there. And to really get it right for whatever game you're playing, and if you want to make it yourself, you got to know the scale. So when you measure things out, you measure it to scale. Because, for example, 1 millimeter in BattleTech scale is which is like 6 millimeter scale, equates to 1 millimeter equaling 1 foot. So if you have, let's say, a 1 foot wide divot, it's just a 1 millimeter thick line, right? So 1 inch is like 25 feet, essentially, in that scale. So that would be important to know, because if you go ahead and take a 40K scale river and put it down, that's one big river. So it's like you have to really keep the scale in mind when you're building things and making terrain, because scale it doesn't have to be perfectly precise, but scale that is off will not ruin the immersion, but it'll really make it awkward. So getting the scale is right. So I find it interesting that Spartan games, and I don't know, I'm assuming there are other, I don't want to say infantry-based games, but land-based combat games. I would have to assume that they're in a similar scale.
The only other one that I know is Dystopian Legions.
Yeah.
And let's see, I'm gonna just take a quick look at what they've got there. Federated States of America!
And so is that Dystopian Legions?
Yep.
Alright, it doesn't say. The 32 millimeter scale figures and vehicles, so that...
Yeah. That's all they say on here.
You know what's really funny, though?
What?
Speaking of scale, when you go to Firestorm Galaxy, when you click on, like, not the product page, but just their page, the Firestorm Armada is 1 to 10,000 scale, which I find is hysterical, because that's really just a made-up scale at that point. Yeah, so I don't know.
And Planetfall itself is 1 to 182 scale.
Exactly, it's 1/182nd scale. So I guess Dystopian Legions is in a different scale. It looks like
probably.
It looks
Let's
more
see. 32 millimeter.
It looks more in line like with like a 40K scale.
Yep, it's 32 millimeter.
Actually, a little bit bigger.
Yep, just a little slightly. It's using the new bases that 40K is using now. That are new, but they're not new, but they're new, but they're not official. It's weird.
I don't really see much with what you're talking about, to be honest.
The new Blood Angel stuff in that that box set that just came out. What is it called?
I know what you're talking about.
It's part of the Leviathan thingy.
Yeah, I know that's box set, but like.
Yeah, well, in that box set, the troopers are on 32 millimeter stands instead of the 28.
Right, but it's not the same base that what we were talking about, Dystopian Legion's using.
The bases are 32 in Dystopian Legions as well.
Yeah, but they use a rounded lip base, more like a War Machine.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the same size.
Okay, I thought you meant the same design. I'm looking
no,
at, like, the
same size.
Okay.
And GW's official answer to what's going on am I changing all my bases was it was a design choice by the artist to change the size of the base for the posing and such, but it's not an official you must change all of your bases to 32 now.
Which is good, and to be honest, yeah, you could kind of tell a difference, but it's not like all of a sudden they're on a Terminator base.
Yeah,
so.
The biggest difference you can tell, and I'm not totally upset about it, is the Space Marines are not, like, living on the edge of their stands.
Right, and it's really only on the Space Marines, like, because the Gene Stealers are on the 28mm base.
Yeah, it was just the Death Company dudes, and I think it's just the Tactical Marines and just, like, the regular old Marines that are on these things. The Terminators are still on the same base.
Yeah, well, yeah. Because the Terminator base was fine for their size. They weren't like occupying all unknown space. You know.
Yep.
That's the big problem I've always had an issue with the Space Marine bases. It's like, well, you really can't do much with them because they occupy the entire base. Yep.
And I do like that they're going to be giving out. Apparently they are making larger base sizes for both. I'm looking at the pre-order stuff now. I'm not seeing them, but that's what I heard.
Well, they're not sold independently, but when you look at it,
one of the White Dwarfs, one of the White Dwarfs was saying that they were going to do independent.
I'm sure they will eventually, but as far as the stuff coming out, that's they're on the bigger bases, which it looks better, honestly, because like we said,
nicer size.
There's really nothing. Because I like to spruce up my bases, and it's very minimalistic when they occupy one edge to the very other edge.
Yep, well, like, there was this one issue, I used that, I made a little bit of a foolish mistake. I used that, new, that Aegis Earth technical paint.
Uh-huh.
I forgot to paint the black bar on the Cultist black. So you see the black cracks, then gray cracks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I should probably put some fake grass on this stuff and everything. I was like, if the base was bigger, I could get the grass on their stands.
Right.
Yeah, and speaking of bigger, have you
cool
seen the new... What?
Oh, sorry, I was looking at the Dystopian Legion vehicles, and some of them got some pretty cool stuff that if you wanted to, you could probably just steal for an Imperial Guard force, but...
Oh, yeah. I like some of the stuff, especially the Federated States of America!
Yeah, there's no need for that.
That's how you have to say it.
But that one's okay. I actually like the Britannia one better.
The Britannians?
It looks more like an enclosed tank and less like a gun strapped to a track.
You just feel that Emperor Lelouch is right.
I don't even know who that is.
It's a reference to a TV show where the villain was the imperial nation of Britannia.
Oh, sure. And the Prussian tank also looks kind of cool. I mean, they all look cool. The weirdest one is the Empire of the Blazing Sun. It's like, we're going to make a circle.
Yep. Because they're Empire of the Blazing Sun.
Right, but it's just, I don't...
That's the one that, Phil is playing.
Of course, but,
with the winged samurai.
Did you, that's a given. I mean, would you even question that?
With the steampunk samurai on a jet bike.
But, they got some pretty cool looking stuff, but,
But speaking of big and large, what do you think of the new Smaug model?
Smaug?
Smaug.
Smaug looks pretty good. It looks good. It makes sense that they're using Forge World resin for him, because Forge World has used the resin to make big kits, and it works. So, don't mess with success, just use it.
Yep, and for those who are wondering, he is from the bottom of the base to the tip of his wings is 8.4 inches, or 21.4 centimeters. His base is 9.2 inches, or 23.1 centimeters, and he is 5.4 inches, or 13.3 centimeters wide.
He's a big guy.
Yep.
The model is suitably huge.
Yep. He is sold out right now, but that's because they limited his run number for Christmas, and once Christmas and the holiday season is over, they're going to reproduce him again.
And to be honest, I would never. I'm not saying he's never going to be made, but I would never really expect them to have much of him produced. Like, it's probably going to be a case you order it, they make it, because it's for the Hobbit.
Especially for also the fact that the new movie's coming out, and it's like Smaug, the biggest character.
Well, no, I don't know why you're saying it weird, but
because it's Smaug. It's a joke.
I don't get it. But aside from the movie, it's just that who, honestly, and Fearless Gamers, feel free to comment on this, who actually plays the Hobbit? I have yet to meet a person who plays the Hobbit.
Surprisingly, a lot of the guys from the our local game store play the Hobbit. They just very rarely play it.
Which is funny, because they never played the Lord of the Rings game. But
no, they played both.
But
because I've seen them play it.
It's like, okay, so that's 5 people. But I mean, that's like 5 people in the entire U.S. apparently who play it. I think we have everybody who plays it at that one store. But like, who? I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a really cool model that would be cool just to have.
Yep.
But I wouldn't, something like this, I would expect not so much a limited run of, but a small quantity actually kept ready to go right away. You know, it just makes sense that way. But
I like how at the bottom they say, we recommend, advanced modeling skills are required.
Well, it's true. Forge World's stuff is not for...
This is a 42-piece set.
It's a lot of pieces to make a dragon.
And it's hand-casted.
Well, that's because it's... Anyway. That's like...
I'm just saying, what's this? Every single horde and battle-scar have been expertly reproduced to create a beautifully authentic collector's
They can read it if they want to, but it's...
No, they go to us for everything.
No,
yes.
No, they don't. In fact, some of them read better than I can, so... Because I don't got time to read. It's like, I'm just like, you know,
Reading
I don't got time to read, and I don't got time to bleed, okay? So, I'm going to go Predator on this.
You got to get old Painless out?
Oh, Predator, but...
I'm going to get old Painless out, and why are you putting a drain on my neck?
To drain you, obviously. But, so, you know, digital's been all the rage lately. Things going digital. I mean, it's not anything new. It's been happening for a while. And the reason I bring that up is because if, you know, 40K is going the route... Now, 40K is going the most... I think is doing the most kind of sophisticated digital release stuff when they have the whole interactive thing going on. But if your bag is to go digital, let's say you're part of the whole digital evolution, you don't really want to have books on books on books. Digital stuff. And
you want books on digital? Yeah,
if you want just, here's my tablet of choice, whatever it is, let me go read stuff. The Battletech Manager game has pretty much all of the books as PDF form to buy. So you can buy them as PDF, which isn't that bad when you think about it, or when I think about it. It's particularly because I'm looking at right now 2 products that are up for sale. One of them is a full-on book. The other one is the digital. And the whole full-on book is $55. The digital is $25.
Yep.
So it's a good chunk difference, and it's on PDF. So anything that can read a PDF can read it.
Yep.
So you're not worried about it. And they've been doing this for years, since before like GW went digital to begin with. So it's all PDF. It's primitive, quote unquote, because it's not fancily interactive, but it's reliable. Anybody can read a PDF. So
totally. I don't know what I'm going to say.
I didn't think so, but it's cool. Plus, that's how all of they have a lot of things free to download as well. Like, you can go to the Battletech website and look at downloads to see what's free, or you can go, well, that's got one thing, and then their site that they sell things through Battletech, essentially, is called Battlecore, CORPS, Battlecore. And that, when you go to, that has a free section as well. And that free section's got a lot, it's free downloads, and it's got a lot of stuff. It has the whole, in fact, the introductory box set quick start rules are free to download. So if you don't want to spend the $60-odd, whatever it is, to see if you enjoy the game, it's a little bit more tricky because they include things you cut out and fold, kind of old school style, to play it, to try it out as you're not getting miniatures. And you have to print out the map, and that can get a little awkward. But the fact is, all the quick start rules are right there. And then you can say, hey, I'm digging the way this works. Then you can go pick up the introductory box set to get all those single piece models, or actually start buying the rule books and learning it for sure. So it's a cool thing if anybody's ever had an interest in the BattleTech game, but it's like, I don't know if I want to spend the money. They have the quick start, just like Infinity has basically quick start intro rules to see if you like it as well.
Infinity has a good chunk of their stuff available just for free, I've noticed.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's basically the rules. But
and
it's good. So, like, Infinity and BattleTech, these are games. BattleTech's definitely more of a niche game. Infinity is just like a newer game. But BattleTech has gotten into that niche realm, unfortunately. So why not have quick start rules just to see if you like it or not? And I think that's something more gaming companies should do, like basically the equivalent of demo rules. Like when you go to a convention, you're going to see people who run demo games. Demo games tend to be either watered down rules-wise or very simplistic stuff to go, here's a taste of it, do you like this, yes or no? I think demo rules should be available for, you got the Heavy Gear game. I don't know if that's still around. If that one defunct. You have the Firestorm series. You got the Dystopian War series. Infinity does it. BattleTech does it. But even like War Machine and 40K, I think series should really look into a demo game download. So you can go, hey, I have random models or little cut-out pieces of paper to represent stuff just to try it out. Do I like this? Yes or no? Especially considering, not all local gaming stores will sit down and play a game with you. Because some of them, they're popping. When you go in, that's when people are going and they're busy. So they might not be able to. Players, I found player bases for games to be really helpful with stuff, but even then, not that they're going to teach you wrong, but even then they may not be the best teachers, and they're not there to teach people necessarily. They're there to enjoy themselves and play, so it's not everybody's going to do it. And you
then
may not
you never know if you're going to get that one dude who teaches people how to play the game, but still teaches them in such a way where they'll win.
Right. And then, let's face it, you have there's Catalyst Game Labs demoers for BattleTech. There's the press gangers for War Machine.
Yep.
But it's not a guarantee that they're going to be around. They kind of do either have a rotation or it's kind of like they have a set schedule, which may not work for you. And you may not have, now, GW has their own store, which they can do demos, but there's probably, you may not live right close enough to one where it's worth just checking out to see if you like it. So, I've always liked when things had a quick start rule set, or you can call it a demo rule set to download and just look at yourself, because, you're not really losing anything. In fact, it may help people go, you know what, I like this, let me pick it up. So that I don't know how the fearless gamers feel, I should say, I don't know. I know for a fact Infinity does it, BattleTech does it. I'm not sure because I didn't really peruse around the Firestorm Galaxy enough. I know they did it for their ships. I don't know if they do it for Planetfall. But they had a thing kind of for their ships as well. I'm curious if anybody knows other games that do that.
Yeah, I don't really know of any other games that actually offer like a free watered down rule set just to give it a try or not.
Because that's like the ultimate appetizer. You go, this was pretty tasty. I'll take the full meal. Or
I've noticed more, in a sense. I've noticed more games that have kind of filtered out doing it because it's like, well, if we give them the rules for free, maybe they'll buy the models type of thing. But I very rarely see games that are actually flourishing doing it. Like, the ones that you've listed are the only ones that I know of that offer it.
And remember, we're talking, like, the thing with BattleTech, they blatantly say this is not the full rules. They don't do heat, they don't do the internal structure damage, they don't do critical hits with their basic stuff. It's just to give you, do you like this? Because it's different than, that gameplay is different. Very much so, a standard game. And Infinity does it because they're new, I'm assuming. But
I don't know, they're in their second edition.
Yeah, but you can...
mostly the rule book, from my understanding, gives you a bigger breakdown of everything.
Yeah, but you're really not... See, I view it, and, I don't run a business, but if you're giving a demo style of a game for free, you're not... I don't think you're really in danger.
No.
Because, like you said, I may like it. If I like it, I'll pick up the roles and pick up models. If I don't like it, I'm not going to be the word of mouth that goes against you, because bad news. Like a satisfied customer rarely talks about it. An upset customer tells it like 100 people. That's not an exaggeration. That's kind of the statistics of any company of anything, whether it's like food, service, whatever it is. Satisfied customers are quiet. The upset customers are very vocal. So the last thing you want is an upset customer because they invested in your game and they hate it and go, man, this game is terrible, don't play it. But you kind of avoid a little bit of that because, especially with gamers, we love vocalizing our displeasure about everything.
Yes, because we're never satisfied.
No, how can we be? But
if we were satisfied, we'd be playing our game.
Does X-Wing do a demo or no?
They do not.
I was curious.
As far as I'm aware. It's all in the box set. Like, the only thing you can get from them is PDFs of FAQs. Fair
enough. Now, that reminded me, because it's really close to... I don't want to say it's really close to a Click game in terms of it being pre-painted, ready to go. You know what I mean?
Mm.
How are Click's games doing these days? Do you have any idea? I really haven't seen much. I know there's been leagues for like Hero Clicks, for example, and other games, and there's been like terrain kind of made for that type of stuff as well because they're at a certain scale. But I haven't really seen much of anything going on the Click side of things. Is it dead, or is it just like Pokemon where it still goes on but you never hear about it?
I think it's like Pokemon. Like, it still goes on, we just, ourselves are just not in the areas that it's being popular in. Yeah. Like, I know, like, the game store by Elena, there's a lot of Click battling going on a lot.
Yeah, because I know it seems like isolated pockets almost.
Yep.
But it's weird because...
big enough to keep it going, but not big enough to have everyone be aware of it.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, to this day, I'm always surprised when I'm like, oh yeah, Pokemon's still a thing. Really?
Yep.
It's like...
Pokemon?
Who are the 5 players that are just buying all of their product? Like, honestly.
The Pokemon gods. They're all too busy playing the Pokemon, the video games.
The video games?
Yep. Oh, like, Matt loves that stuff.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, still, like, the card game is still a thing that goes on.
Yep.
And I'm
yeah, people... I've seen that there's a good chunk of people who play the video game that just eat up all the cards. They're just like, nom, cards.
Well, it's part of a balanced breakfast, but...
It is. Full of fiber.
Definitely full of fiber. That's for sure. Yes, so... what was I going to say? The Blood Angels are up for pre-order, like as we mentioned. I like the Tactical Squad kit because what I like about it is hope, and by hope I mean this is the Blood Angel stuff. I mean every legion, every chapter that has their own codex kind of has a unique squad or two of theirs.
Yep,
and my hope is that we're going to see more unique stuff. Like, the Blood Angels Tactical Squad, when you think about it, it's actually kind of a bold move.
Yeah.
Break it down, because what you're looking at, and it's not just this, but when you look at it, you got a little bit of sprinklings of Death Company bits and Sanguinary Guard bits in a Tactical Squad box.
Yep.
Or where they're not making you buy a Sanguinary Guard kit just to spruce up your Tactical Squad. Here's a squad box that has everything a Tactical Squad needs to be a regular Tactical Squad, plus Blood Angel specific bits.
Uh-huh.
Which, contrary to how people like to build ZWs, makes you buy product. That right there, if you don't want to feel Sanguinary Guard, but you want those cool bits, you got some of them.
Yep.
So it's kind of a thing. It's easy enough to do, I guess. You just, on the assembly line, you just put a sprue here, put a sprue there, and you're done. But it makes me hopeful that, because you got more stuff for the Space Wolves. The Space Wolves have, basically their whole range there. They got the most because they're super unique all the time. But
because they're Space Wolves.
I will say this, though. Their bits are well done, and if you want to go Space Wolf, you can definitely go pure Space Wolf bits and have nothing that doesn't look Space Wolfy. Yep. Which is very cool. So my hope was we're going to get a bit more of that. Like, I would like to see the Dark Angels Tactical Squad box come back and have it more so than just a special, because it used to be the Sergeant and a Plasma Cannon.
Yep, and the Plasma Cat had Dark Angel symbols
Yeah.
all over it.
And
I remember that. I bought it the day it came out on the White Wolf.
I bought White Dwarf.
White Dwarf, yes.
This is not a world of darkness. But this is a galaxy where there's only war. It's slightly different.
Slightly.
But, like, I'm hoping that when the Dark Angels get redone eventually, because they're gonna. You know it's gonna happen.
Yep. Well, we're up to, I think, was it only 2 armies? 1 army left. The Necrons, I think, are the only army that haven't gotten updated.
Well, no, because we're talking this new 7th edition style. A lot of them have.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking like from like the list starting from 6th going into 7th. Necrons are the last one, and then they recycle back to the beginning of the cycles.
Right, but what I'm
like
saying is...
Yeah, so once Necrons are done, then that would be leading the potential for Chaos Dark Angels, Space Marines, Tau, and Eldar to get 7th upped.
Yeah, so, I mean, to get 7-5 is still a bunch to go, but in terms of rotation, yeah.
Yeah.
But it makes me hopeful that once the Dark Angels get done, again, that we'll maybe see a resurgence of a Dark Angels tactical squad box, which is
some cool stuff. Maybe some Knight helmets.
Yeah, like stuff like that. And I'm hoping we see. We're not going to see it for all the chapters. Let's be real.
Yeah,
we're not going to see an Imperial Fist tactical squad. That's just a tactical squad box. But
for the ones that actually have a codex, you know.
I know, but really,
not saying that the other ones aren't worth it, but like in GW, like from a business standpoint, if they don't have their own codex, then there's very little reason to make a product that represents something that you can't buy a physical book of.
Yeah, it really comes down to that. Like the Black Templars have an upgrade frame, and the Imperial Fist / Crimson Fist have some upgrade pieces, like backpacks and stuff. But there's no need to make a full-on tactical squad. Yeah, but because to be perfectly honest, like for me, like as a consumer, if I saw let's just say if I saw Salamander's tactical squad, I'd be going, oh, where's the Salamander book? I want to see what these guys are about. No, they don't have a book here. Okay, then let's see what else do they have on the shelf. Exactly, and also it's just that aside, it wouldn't make production sense to have 15 million tactical squad kits.
Yes.
Plus
then everyone would be sitting there going, all they have is Space Marines.
Right. But, so...
Even just then, all we would have in game stores would be Space Marines, because that's all the shelf space they would have.
Exactly. But I am hoping for the ones that have their own codex, and what I would like to see, because as much as I don't really have a problem with them being in the generic Space Marine codex, it would be really cool if when they did the Space Marine codex, if they somehow finagled it to get the Black Templars their own codex again. I know why they went that route, and it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't really bother me, but at the same time, it would be cool to see them get more stuff than just whatever the Space Marine codex gets. So, but I've been thinking about it, and I really can't think of what you could add to a Black Templar force that's not already there. It's not. There's really nothing. They're spent in terms of having their models. What else are you going to do?
Yeah.
And for those of you who still complain that they lost the Sword Brethren, they were garbage anyway. Like
they lost the Sword Brethren?
The Sword Brethren was a name for their veteran squads.
Yeah.
And the Sword Brethren in the Black Templars Codex were really limited. Literally, the old Sword Brethren squad they sold had like a Twin Lightning Claws, a power weapon, and like the rest were just chain stuff. That's literally, you only can take one guy with a power weapon, one guy with Twin Lightning Claws, and that was it. Like, literally, the squad was built like the kit was designed. And back in the day, it was okay, but when you put up against just veteran squads, it was outshone every time.
So what you're saying is, it's like Dark Angel veteran squads. Why bother?
Well, no, the Dark Angel veteran squads are fine.
I think that out of all the units in their codex, that's the one unit I'm like, I don't see a need for you guys.
No, they're Battle Company veterans. I definitely see a need for them because they're very useful. They can, sweeping advance, for one thing.
But Blood Angels, the Black Templar cannot?
No, I'm talking in relation to Dark Angel stuff. The Battle Company veterans, I like them. They're first off, cool bits. Secondly, the units are useful, and I've seen those units just lay the smack down when they paired up with things. Like, they just go, hey, watch this, smack it. But that's the any veteran squad. But even back in the first inception of the Battle Company veteran squad, which was kind of the one now is way better, they still outshone the Sword Brethren because literally you couldn't do anything to that squad. So yeah, they don't have a squad called Sword Brethren anymore, but you can take a Vanguard and make that your Sword Brethren, you know what I mean? And be infinitely better than what you had. So, that's not really a loss. You lost the name, but you gained a squad that fills the same role.
It's one of those things, it's you hate when you lose something, even though when you really look at it, it wasn't really much to begin with.
Wait, and the thing is, it's not even a loss. Like, my point is, you didn't lose anything. Okay, this is what happened. Sword Brethren equals veterans. Vanguard equals veterans. We lost a veteran to gain a veteran. You didn't lose anything.
Yeah.
It's an equivalent exchange, essentially. In fact, you got more than you ever bargained for because these guys can have jump packs and can take weapon upgrades. Plus, you also have access to the shooty veterans, the Stern Guard. So it's like
the Stern Guard,
which are my favorite. But
do Dark Angels can't have Stern Guard, correct? No, they can't.
They don't need them. Because Stern Guard's actually first company.
Yeah, because they're just like fancy shooty dudes. We've got Terminators.
Well, yeah, but I really would love to have some specialist ammunition. But our first company fights solely in Terminator armor. So
because we're Terminators.
You gotta terminate things. That's how it works. Speaking of terminate things,
the Terminator trailer,
dude. I don't care what anybody says. I just love it when Skynet's on the big screen. So,
it's growing on me because when I first saw it, I thought it was supposed to be a sequel to Salvation. So it's like, oh, so by sequel they remade Terminator 2. Oh, okay. And then I found out that it's a complete entire reboot like the new Star Trek movies, and now I'm starting to enjoy it.
Well, yeah, but even if it was a sequel to Salvation, let's just say it was meant to be that, it wasn't Terminator 2, it was completely different. It was
close enough to Terminator 2.
No, it wasn't. It was actually closer to Terminator 1. But
yeah, well, I mix it up with Terminator 2 because when in the trailer Kyle Reese comes back, Terminator 1 has already happened, and they're up to the sequence where the T-1000 is coming after them, and that reminds me more of Terminator 2.
Right,
especially since they had Arnold there trying to save them and get them to the chopper.
Well, yeah, but timeline-wise, Connor wasn't born yet.
Yeah.
So but I just like, I'm not putting it nowhere near the same pedal as the Star Wars phenomenon, but I love seeing Skynet stuff, Judgment Day stuff on the big screen. I like T-888s. I like the T-1000. I just like seeing that stuff. So if I get to see crazy, weird technology that Skynet creates on the big screen, I'm enjoying it. Plus, it's Arnold back, and I am a fan of Arnold as an actor, so I like to see him.
Well, Arnold's awesome.
But you get people who just don't like Arnold, and I don't understand that because he's Arnold. Like,
he's Arnold. He's got to get to the chopper.
And when you look at what Arnold has accomplished in his life, that's when you really got to step back and at least have respect for the guy, because not only was he Mr. Universe. Oh yeah, he was Mr. Universe. Right there, okay, beats me forever, because I could never attain that. So he was Mr. Universe, and he was in the Austrian military before that. So he was a military man, trained for Mr. Universe while in the military, and then, got Mr. Universe essentially. Then, in fact, one of his stories was one of those toolboxes that they have, because he was a tank driver, and one of the toolboxes that have the spare tools and stuff for the tank, he had one of the tanks next to him, because in the formation carried the tools for him, and he put all of his weight training equipment in that toolbox. So once they were done with formation, he would take out his bench and his dumbbells and work out. But so that's funny just in and of itself. Then he was Mr. Universe. He was Mr. Universe, and then he came to the United States. He wanted to act, said he would never make it. He made it big time as an actor. And then he's like, I want to go into politics. And they go, you're crazy. Nobody understands you. You're all bulky and you do action movies. And then he became, part of politics.
And then he went, California, we got to get up pumped up.
Yeah, and then, he married into our royalty, the Kennedys, essentially. Yeah. That's essentially our royalty. He did all of this and has still got plenty of years left in him. Yeah. It's like, try to equal Mr. Universe, action hero, politics, and go ahead and marry into the royalty of Britain, for example. Just try it. It's not going to happen. So Arnold's got a pretty impressive resume.
He does. I still need to see Escape Plan.
That was good.
I did just get Expendables 3, so I'm excited to watch that.
That was good. Escape Plan was good. You know what I liked of his? One of his earlier works was Red Heat.
Red Heat.
He was a Russian. He plays a Russian police officer who works with a Chicago police officer to deal with a Georgian drug lord, essentially. Belushi is his co-star.
Oh.
So that's bad.
I think I've heard of it. I just never seen it.
It was pretty good. I liked it. Because I don't remember why when I was younger, I would say middle school era, they had a thing on TV that was they were all about Arnold back then. They were going over his everything, his workout routines, everything he did. Because he used to do physical training stuff and had motivational stuff for don't do drugs. And he's still a big believer in after school activity for kids to keep them off the streets, which is very good. You know, after school programs. So he had all of that. Plus, there was some movie coming out, and I don't know what it was. But they went over his old stuff, and they really covered Red Heat a lot, and that got me to watch it, and it was pretty cool. I mean, I couldn't tell you much about it now because it was a while since I've seen it, but I remember enjoying watching it. It was basically a whole behind the movies thing of how that movie was made, essentially, which was pretty cool. And then one of the reasons they did that, it was a tribute to the stunt coordinator for that movie because he died of a heart attack while it was filming. So they did that as part of a tribute to him as well. But it was a solid. I enjoyed the movie, and that was back in that movie came out in '87. So I believe he knew some English then, because when he was Conan.
Yes, Conan the Barbarian.
I believe he knew some English, and it was funny. I found a picture the other day of him as Conan, and then the 2011 Conan or whatever. Who was pretty ripped, and Arnold's just huge in comparison. Arnold's like, "You are puny Conan."
I think my favorite is the picture of him standing next to Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
Because you're just dang, he looks tiny.
Because Andre was a giant.
He was huge. He's the closest thing we'll get to Magnus in our universe.
Well, bulky-wise, because there's an Asian guy who was 9-something or 8-something feet tall. He makes Shaq look tiny.
Yes, he does make Shaq look tiny.
Which is hysterical. But there was a thing with Arnold, and I follow him on some of the social media stuff because it's Arnold. And I forget what country they filmed Conan in when he filmed it, but it was some other country, and he went there.
Yeah.
And they had a Conan festival, which is basically really an Arnold Schwarzenegger festival, to be honest.
Yeah.
And they gave him the Conan sword, and he held it up in the air and did this stuff. It was just really cool. And it was that's in their mind, that's the real Conan. And to be fair, you take Arnold at his prime versus this actor, Arnold looks way better as Conan because he's just jacked up to no end. Think about it. It's Mr. Universe being Conan. You can't really beat that.
There was a story once that says he played a Conan again in the film Red Sonja. It was all these things where it was Conan, but it wasn't the same Conan.
Oh, it was completely different. He played Calidor.
Oh, I thought his name was Conan.
When you look at him, he looks just like Conan.
Yeah.
I don't really know if there's anything I don't know if it's just Conan with a different name, but they call him Calidor, I believe.
Okay.
But
what was
it's confusing
because
it looks like Conan.
It does. I thought it was just like a Conan ripoff of film that he just made a cameo in, sort of like how Hercules every so often made a cameo in Xena Warrior Princess when his ratings were bad.
Well, actually, I'm doing a quick search on Conan. Apparently, one of Conan's alternate names is Calidor.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know why you didn't just call him Conan then. I guess they did that so it's not quite.
Yeah, so they didn't mix the two up between them. But anyways, supposedly Arnold has openly said that when he wanted to torture house guests, he would force them to watch Red Sonja.
That's funny.
A movie is bad when that's the actor's reaction to being asked about that film.
But you know what's funny, though? What I like, I guess his age a bit, is that he can say that about the movie, Some people are I don't want to talk about that movie, it's terrible. He's like, no, I take that, and I make people watch it.
Yes, it's no, that's how bad it was. I use it as punishment.
In the Arnold compound or whatever where he lives, he has a personal gym set up in his house or whatever. that bodybuilder active, because he's still active in the bodybuilding community for stuff like this. Like he went to another country again, and he actually was not one of the judges, but he opened up a thing that was for weightlifting competitions and like flexing competitions and stuff like that. So he's still a big part of that, and he has a gym in his house or whatever he owns that's like a full-on like training gym, like a Gold's Gym, because he was big with Gold's Gym, still is. So it's kind of like that, but in his house, and he brings bodybuilders to work out there. It's like a workout palace, really, like the way it's been described, is a palace, like the architecture and stuff. It's like worshiping, working out, and he'll take like his close friends and stuff and to work out with him there and work out with these other people. So you got a whole bunch of muscle-bound, crazy guys working out there, and then you got people who are his close friends who aren't that jacked up trying to work out in the same thing, and you got Arnold critiquing you like, lift it again, puny man, like stuff like that.
You got to lift it like this.
Like,
stop it.
But
get to the bell bar.
I would like to check that place out if it was possible, just to go there, just to have like a day with Arnold as a personal trainer, so I can just hear him go, lift it, come on, lift it, do it now. It would be fantastic.
That would be awesome to just go, Arnold, could you coach me for a day?
It would be great. He actually did a spoof where he wore some like a fake mustache and like a mullet and a hat and was a personal trainer.
I saw that when he went to Planet Fitness.
It was Gold's Gym.
Gold's Gym, yeah, and he was just hiding out doing stuff with people.
Personal trainer. My favorite was the lady at the water fountain. It's like, okay, now we're gonna do reps. All right, down. Every time I count, you go down, take a drink, come back up. And it's like the one, and he got like 20 or something. It's fantastic. It's just fantastic. I would love to have Arnold as a personal trainer just for one day, just so you can be so like disappointed in my progress. But
not even just that. Then you could go around and go, I was coached by Arnold.
Because the stuff you learn, you can do on your own once you learn it.
Yeah.
And just to hear him go, wow, you really suck, would be great.
Wow, I've never seen anyone so pathetic as you.
Just to have him be like, because he's still got it. He's no Mr. Universe anymore, but he has stuff up there when he's lifting weights and stuff, and his muscles like the side of my head still. So he's still got the arm.
Still ripped.
If he hit you today, it would still hurt a lot. So, I mean, he's still got it.
He's still got it.
And you know what? He's aged pretty well, too.
He has.
You know who hasn't? Jean-Claude Van Damme. But he's aged pretty well.
Jean-Claude Van Damme hasn't aged well, but he still doesn't look too terrible. He can still roundhouse kick you.
Once, and then he has to, like, sit down. But the point is he can get it done once.
Going up, going down.
Like, he can do it once, and he's still got the flexibility, but he's just...
Yeah. He just doesn't look good anymore.
He doesn't look very well.
Because I remember when we saw that, I was like, is that John?
Yeah,
God.
He doesn't look so good.
He looked sickly.
He did. He looked odd. Plus, he had like heavy eyeliner on.
Yep. And that accent. Oh, that accent where you can't tell what he's saying. He makes Arnold sound like he's speaking perfect English.
Yeah, it really did. I was gonna argue, but his accent really does make Arnold sound pretty awesome. But I just love that his name was villain.
Yes.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. I love because people who really harp on and really critique the Expendables too much, you gotta take a step back and realize what you're talking about here.
You're talking about cheesy 80s action films with a 2000 budget and special effects.
Like, not giving anything away with Expendables 3, but they poked fun at the whole 1980s action film thing in that movie.
Yeah.
And, like, it's the whole point of the Expendables was this is how movies were. And, and we're just going to have fun with it. And part of that is the naming of some of these people, like Villain.
Yep. Oh, that stuff was so good.
Like, it was great. And just like Terry Crews's character's name is Hail Caesar.
Yep.
They just call him Caesar, but his full name is Hail Caesar. Come on now. You can't honestly expect groundbreaking plot with Villain and Hail Caesar.
Yep. And what's his nose? Mr. Transporter Dude.
Yeah.
His nickname is Christmas.
Because his name is Lee Christmas.
Yeah.
His name is Christmas.
Yep. What was Stallone's name in that film?
Barney Ross.
Yes.
Come on now. Arnold Schwarzenegger
and then the wolf.
French.
Yep. And then there's the wolf.
Yeah, the wolf. But like,
which, I mean, what other name would you call the Norris.
There really isn't any other name to give him. Well, he was Booker, but he's calling the Wolf. But I mean, Booker, Trench, Church.
Yep.
What do you want? Hail Caesar.
Caesar. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a bit of an emergency. Doc!
Yeah, but like Caesar is a fine last name. People actually have that today. But when you go like, all right, Hail Caesar, what are you doing? I'm trying to get the guy's attention. I'm not actually saying Hail Caesar. His name is Hail Caesar.
Yep.
It's like, it's great. It makes me smile because, especially with a movie that's not really taking itself too seriously, because I find, I don't know if you agree with this or not, I find some movies take themselves too seriously these days. Yeah.
Especially also some of the action films do try to take themselves very seriously.
Yeah, it's like, you're an action film. Just blow something up. Stop making it so deep and philosophical. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I don't like plots. But when you bill yourself as this is going to be an action-packed movie, and then you get all deep and depressing on me, it's like, I get it.
I bought this ticket to see something blow up, not to see someone question the morals and meaning of his existence.
Yeah, and, you know, I forget what comedian, he said something to this effect. It was not so much with movies, but just in general. And it's like, you know, everything is getting too serious these days. Like, you know, you watch movies or sports or whatever it is to just get away from reality for a little bit. And then they interject real-world things like fighting cancer or something dying of something terrible or like, you know, depression and stuff like that. And it's like, the whole point is that we watch these entertainments is to get away from all that depressing stuff. And if it's part of a plot, like if it's a drama movie, I get it. It works.
Yeah.
But when you're like I'm not saying Jack Reacher did this, but Jack Reacher touched on some things like nothing really crazy to get deep and philosophical about, but it did enough just to drive the plot along, and it was fine. I enjoyed watching that. What was that movie where Arnold was the sheriff?
Oh, Last Stand.
That movie, I really enjoyed watching it. It was a fun watch, and it didn't go crazy.
That movie taught me a very, very important lesson.
What's that?
Don't ruin Arnold's day off.
It's true.
Because I love that he's like, why do you bother? Why do you care about some Mexican going back to Mexico? You ruined my vacation day.
It was great because he had classic one-liners in there like, how are you feeling? Old.
Yeah. How are you feeling, Sheriff? Old. I love that movie is so good.
Then who are you? I'm the sheriff. But it's just like it's got the classic one-liners. It's the movie that, because it was like one of his first movies back into doing movies. Yeah. And I was not skeptical, but I was worried how they were going to cast him. And it was when I saw that movie, I'm like, I have no fears. He's still going to be cast as classic Arnold, and that's fantastic. So, and that movie didn't get too deep and depressing with anything. It just lets you have a good time and enjoy it. Yeah, Johnny Knoxville's in there, but it didn't ruin the movie. I'm not saying he ruins things, but he has a certain stigma to him. And it was still just enjoyable. Like, that's what... If I want to see a really, like, depressing... Not depressing, but if I want to see a real serious thing, I'll watch a drama. That's what it's there for.
Yeah. Yep. Dramas are there to be dramatic.
Or dramedies, you know, like a drama comedy. But Draction doesn't really work too well.
Yeah,
you can't do Draction.
Draction has no traction.
Right. That's why, like, I was watching the other day the original RoboCop, and I forgot, how violent that movie was.
Yeah.
But it was a good watch, because it was done in the 80s, and nobody cared.
I still love the Ed 209, and I always feel bad when he's crying in the stairwell.
Because I'm a big Ed 209 fan, and I really did feel bad. I'm like, oh, come on, that's so... Yeah, he tried to kill you, but that's cruel.
He just wants to get up. Help the poor man.
Yeah, right. But, like, I forgot how violent and brutal that movie was, but not in anything like, oh my god, this is not for children. It was great.
Especially when Murphy's getting gunned down, you're just like, oh, I forgot about the hand part.
Yeah, I forgot. The hand part was great, and I forgot how over the top it was. Like, 1 million shots, half of them shotgun shots, and it wasn't just in pieces. But,
yeah.
Like, I forgot how over the top. They shot him for a good almost minute. It's like, really?
Yeah. They really gunned him down.
And what's funny is not the guy in Oscorp. Not Oscorp.
Omnicorp.
I do that because it's Corp.
Yeah.
I always say the wrong one for either movie. But Omnicorp, not that guy, but the guy who ran Old Detroit.
Okay.
It's funny because that's
villain.
Red from That 70s Show.
Yep.
And he went from being like this, I wonder if he did any of that stuff like while they're shooting takes of the 70s Show, just read and whatnot. I wonder if he ever busted out into RoboCop villain mode, because he was pretty good in that villain mode.
He was a good villain in that film. And speaking of good villains, before we wrap it up here, what do you think of the new Konrad Curze model?
Konrad Curze.
Curze, sir. I always call him Cruise.
Yeah, he's not Tom Cruise crazy. He's
yeah, well, he could be.
Well, he's Konrad Curze crazy. There's a difference. He looks great. He looks really good. He looks how I want him to look, with one exception, and that is his backpack thingy.
The fact that he doesn't have one?
Well, he has like a little backpack tucked away thing. But my only concern with that is, and I don't know what they're doing, he's jump infantry. So, I guess, and I haven't, you don't get the best look at kind of what's underneath his back cowl thing.
Yep.
But I'm guessing it lets him jump, or they have some, or maybe whatever, but I'm not saying he looks bad. It's just that it doesn't really convey as accurately jump infantry as I would have liked. But he looks fantastic.
I do notice that he kind of seems to be suffering from Logar syndrome, where his display base is 10 times larger than the actual model.
Yeah, his base is huge.
But at the same time, I like his size, because I was very concerned going, now, are they going to make him like the size of the other Primarchs, where it's like, how does he be so stealthy if he's so huge?
Well,
type of thing?
He's not a small Primarch.
He's not a small Primarch, but like the way that his model's posed and its design, it gives it a very slender look that makes it go, okay, I can see this guy disappearing in the shadows type of thing. Whereas when I look at like Vulcan, and I'm like, you're not hiding.
Well, no, he won't. Yeah, no. But like they made him more, I guess, like you said, lanky, but he's still suitably big and impressive, so it works very well. Yeah,
no, like he's still fairly tall compared to the like you could tell that like his hip goes up to like the chest plate of the raptor sitting right next to him.
Yeah, he's sculpted very well. Again, painting him is going to be a nightmare.
I do like the Wolverine Predator claw look for him.
It's more Street Fighter looking than which
and
is good.
I like that more than the giant claws that they always drew him with.
Well, I don't mind the giant claws like the Chaos Tournament and Lightning Claw thing. I think it looks suitably sinister, but what I like is that this looks way more like gang fighter type of thing, which is good, for Konrad Curze, the Nighthawk.
And I like the skinned Imperial Guardsmen around him, and the whole all the gore stuff on him just looks really good.
Yeah, it does.
And the little corpse on his shoulder pad, beautiful.
It's done very well. Now, I was doing a little searching while talking about this because I was trying to remember something back talking about movies real quick. I couldn't remember the one. Can you believe Jaws is PG?
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
PG. And the last one is R.
I was reading something the other day that was talking about movie facts, and it listed that they had to cut a lot of violent scenes out to get it from but they cut a lot of violent scenes out because it was originally rated R, and they got it dropped all the way to PG, which I don't know how that made PG. I guess it really,
especially with the nude shot in the beginning.
Yeah, but I was just like, wow, that's PG, and I just I forgot that it was. I was looking up real quick.
There's a weird, funny thing. Speaking about that, there's a movie called Baby the Lost Legend. It's about this couple that find an existing family of brontosauruses.
Okay.
No, there's 3 of them. Brontosauruses.
Okay.
It's Elena's arguing with me that about plurals.
Oh no, it's brontosauruses.
And so in it, they go across. They find this dude. He tells them that he's seen the Brontosaurus in his travels, and that's why he's kind of going crazy. And they go to a village. And now, again, granted, this movie was rated PG. Okay, it was PG, and the entire village they went to were topless. And I'm just sitting there, and And the thing is, I was watching it. I used to watch it when I was a kid, like when I was 5-ish.
Yeah.
And I then looked. And then here's the thing, though, is back at the same time, I wasn't allowed to watch the first Terminator movie because there was nudity in that film.
Yeah.
And it was rated R.
Mm-hmm.
I then, a couple of years ago, I rewatched Baby because it was just on TV, and I sat there and was like, wait a minute, all those women are topless. Why was I allowed to watch this?
That's a fair enough statement. But yeah, it's weird, ratings back in the day versus today are not the same.
Yep. Spaceballs was PG, and they swear up a storm like any rated R film today.
Exactly. So the ratings are definitely different then versus now.
Yeah.
Which is why I was
very much so.
I was like, Jaws is PG.
PG.
Okay. Oh, sure. I mean, just the fact that it's. I don't know what that movie's officially classified as, but I'd say it's definitely meant to be like a. Oh my god. I don't want to say thriller, but it's like a suspense, almost horror.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't really. I don't really think you'll get a suspense horror styled movie today in a PG rating.
Yep.
It had to be at least PG-13.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, I was trying to remember, so I just wanted to bring it up real quick. But yeah, Konrad Curze would be an R-rated model if they rated models, or at least an R-rated character, and he looks great. I mean,
he does. I like his sinister-looking face too.
Oh yeah, he's supposed to look crazy. I mean, he's kind of insane in a way. Like,
yep, because he sees the future.
He's burdened with glorious purpose. You see. No.
Yep.
But he's
like, his appearance even shook the lion to his core when he met him afterwards. He was like, what the heck happened to you?
He did, yeah. It was more of a, what happened to your brother? Like what happened? Like, you're not well type of thing is what it was like. But it was great. He's got the whole flesh skin thing. But
he's got the cool ruins that he's standing on. He's like, Kwacha!
I got still looking at him, I don't see how he can be flying around. Because he's never really dictated as flying around, per se. Mm. But he, in a couple of things, especially when he fought against Korax, he's like the mirror of Korax. And with his lightning claw type stuff. And he was basically, before Korax could kill Lorgar, he went in there and he jumped down, swooped down, and saved the day for him. So, I don't know if they're representing it Batman style, where you can kind of glide in with what he's got. I don't know, because they don't explain it.
Yes, we'll have to wait, because usually when the model full-on comes out, usually then they throw up a video with the modeler going, what I was trying to do was, like, capture the inner child that was tortured with inside the model, and so I did that.
I never actually watched those, but for this one I will, to see if they talk about the fact that he's jumping the tree.
Yeah, some of them are actually really cool. Like, the one about Vulcan is really cool. I was like, I want to represent the hugeness of Vulcan.
The hugeness. Now, what are they going to say when they eventually do Magnus? I wanted to represent the sheer ludicrous size.
I wanted to just show you people how hard it is to make a freaking model this big. That's why in every box there's a DVD of me making the model.
A DVD. But yeah, I don't envy the painter who has to paint up Konrad Curze. And for any Primarch, really, but because he's got a lot of gore effects going on, I don't envy it.
Yeah.
Same thing with Angron. But,
Angron, the ever angry.
Yeah. But really the best way to describe Konrad Curze would be he's a really evil Batman. Because that's his whole backstory. He brought, order to his planet full of villainy. But unlike Batman who swore never to kill, he swore the exact opposite.
Yep, I will kill everyone.
I swear to kill. It's basically his thing.
Speaking of the Batmans, I saw this really funny video recently. You ever hear of How It Should Have Ended?
Yeah.
Well, they did a Guardians of the Galaxy one, and usually typically at the end of their How It Should Have Ended, now it ends with Batman and Superman hanging out in a coffee shop, and the character from the film that their How It Should Be Ending is hanging out with them sometimes.
Yeah.
And the Guardians are there, and it ends with Batman going up to the green girl, going, hey, how's it going? I'm Batman. And then the little Groot figure goes, I I am Groot! And he goes, I'm Batman! And they just go back and forth with each other over it, and Superman goes, yeah, they'll be at it for a while. And he's just going, I am Groot! I'm Batman!
Which is fair enough. Fair enough with that. I could definitely see that happening. Have you seen anything more with Batman vs. Superman? Because I haven't.
I haven't seen anything since the picture of Wonder Woman. Like, I haven't seen a trailer, I haven't seen a video, I've seen nothing.
Okay. Because I haven't either, but I wasn't looking.
Not that I haven't been looking, but none of the sites that I've been to have posted it, because now it's all Star Wars.
Oh,
which isn't a bad thing.
Which is proper. That's the proper response.
Yeah, which isn't a bad thing,
and,
but it's just that's all they're talking about. What's up?
I know you've seen it, but if anybody hasn't, you guys see Colbert's take on the trailer.
Yes. Mike drops everyone complaining about the lightsaber handguard.
Yeah, I mean, the lightsaber handguard I think is cool. It's like we said before. It's all lightsabers are impractical. This is a different way to be impractical. You know, spinning things would be a little bit different now because you have lightsaber guards to cut yourself with. But it's fine. And the way he described it is a very logical process to it, and it's Stephen Colbert.
Yep, and I loved how he's like, no, see, the little metal casings are to protect your hand from the lightsaber blade.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, and he's like, well, come back in 2 weeks when you catch up to me.
Basically. So, I mean, it was just a very well done thing, kind of a follow-up from what we were talking about earlier, or last time.
And if you ever get a chance, also, YouTube the voice actor for Porky Pig on how to do the stuttering piece.
Oh, yeah?
Because he describes exactly how he does it and the rate to it, and he starts talking, and he starts going, and eventually he just gets in and starts doing it. And he goes, and the thing is, you know, and I'm the only one who can do this successfully, so there's my job security.
That's cool, and that was cool. And I was watching something. It was a couple of clips of Seth MacFarlane doing his whole Family Guy voice stick thing. Yeah, and it's just like in an interview format, and it was just cool to see, especially when it just goes from one to the other. It was bang, bang, bang. Which people, you know, I'm not here to defend or to belittle Seth MacFarlane. He makes more money than I'll ever see, so I don't care really one way or the other. But as far as voice acting goes, for somebody who can't do it, and to see somebody who can do multiples on the fly, he's not the only person to do it. But when a voice actor can do that, that's talent. Yes,
and especially here in the States, it's very, very rare that you can see someone who can jump between the two type of thing.
I don't know if it's rare, but I would say the rare part is how he's doing like 4 voices like that.
It's more common in Japan, I find.
They kind of have to, because not to sound mean, when they get into that screaming mode, they all sound the same.
Yeah,
but it's not just with voice acting. If you ever want a good laugh, and they do it for everything, either watch a Japanese clip of a sport event being announced by them, or watch a racing event when it's announced. When they see a crash, they scream "Crashu" really, really loud. It's like goal, but it's like he'll go into like almost like a hysterical fit of screaming about what just happened, and it's like that with anything. And I don't know what the Japanese culture is about going over the top of screaming when things happen. But
they all watch Dragon Ball Z as a kid.
but it's there, and it's not just for voice acting. It's not just for soccer or football, as they would call it. They do it in racing, and it's everywhere. Or even just they're announcing when they do that ninja thing, or the
Ninja Warrior.
Yeah, or like the other one that's kind of a joke on it. You know, when they
I don't know that one.
The one when they have them go through an obstacle course and knock them into the water, and they do different stupid obstacles.
That's Ninja Warrior.
No, a different one. It's like a take on it to be a comedy.
I've only seen one, and it's always been the obstacle course one.
Yeah, but I mean, there's Ninja Warrior, but there's a whole different show that we also took over in America.
Yeah,
and it's not Ninja Warrior. I forget what it's called, but it's not meant to show how ridiculously awesome you are. Because I watched the one guy who completed the obstacle course completely, and oh my god! But it's more like this isn't that difficult. It's more this is kind of humiliating because we're going to knock you into water with different weird looking things.
Okay.
And there's that, and they're over the top with things. It's just if you ever want to just, I don't know, laugh, just watch a Japanese commentator or announcer do anything. It could be for the ice cream truck. Ice cream!
Ice cream!
Basically. But, yeah, no, but voice acting, that's talented. Another good one that I watched a while ago is Winnie the Pooh doing Darth Vader.
Darth Vader, yes.
Yeah, with Darkwing Duck.
Darkwing Duck as his officer.
Yeah, it's great.
It'd be dangerous to keep her prisoner.
Let's get dangerous. It was great. And so...
Leave her to me.
And that's another case of a guy who can do, multiple voices. And I knew this before, but just seeing it in interviews, the guy who voices Cleveland, he's white.
Yep.
But it's always whenever, and I know this going in, but every time he does a voice, it's always kind of like, give me a half a second. Because you see the character on the show, and you expect certain things, and it's not, and that's fantastic.
Yep. It's like, people who are very shocked when they hear Bart Simpson in real life, because they have to take a moment to realize that Bart Simpson's played by a girl.
Yeah, which is more common in Japan.
Yeah, but let's just face it. In those types, girls can tend to do preteen boys a lot easier, even at older ages.
Yeah, and they can
guys
do
can.
The Ultimate Super Saiyan.
Yep.
Apparently, preteen boys and Goku.
Yep. So that is all for right now, because we are out of time.
Yes, we are. But give us your take on Konrad Curze.
Yep.
He is the knight, after all.
He is vengeance. He is the knight. He is a night hunter.
Yeah, night hunter. He is somebody. Give us your take.
Somebody.
Give us your take on that. Let us know how you feel also about different scaling for miniature games, and what do you think about if more companies step up and do demo free PDFs so you can get into the game before getting into the game. As a taste of it. What's your take on that?
Yep. And what do you think of the Terminator trailer?
Yes. Are you ready for chun 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 chun? I don't care what anybody says. That is probably the most one of the most, and really can't be confused with anything, theme.
Yep.
When you hear that,
theme you can't tell. You can always tell it's him.
Yeah. When you hear that, you're like, uh-oh, this is about to go down.
Judgment Day is coming.
I love that theme song. It's just it's perfect. If there ever was a perfect theme song to capture the mood of a series for a movie, or the fluff of the movie. Mm-hmm. That one does it to a T.
Fun fact: whenever there's a Terminator movie coming out, and you're driving in a car with the fills, and you just go dun 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 dun, he immediately finishes it up on his dashboard.
He got to.
He's like, you got to finish it.
If you don't finish it, they'll get you.
Yes. And so, with that, thank you all for listening, and until next time, Fearless Gamers, this is Matt the Vet.
James the Wildcard.
Saying take care.
Peace.